Hi guys, and welcome to my official YouTube channel. I decided to just kind of start putting my videos on YouTube because, as you may or may not know, I tend to get a little chatty in my videos, and so the longer format just seemed kind of right to migrate over here with some of the things I'm doing. So thanks for following me over here if you did. So my first video that I'm gonna do today on YouTube is I've gotten a couple of questions about essentially how to get started with printing your stuff from home. So I think there's a lot of people that want to do it, but don't really know like what's a good paper to use or what's the right punch or what's a good cutter. So I'm just going to take you through what I use and kind of my thoughts on those things. I will also link all the products below that I'm talking about in the description below. Quick note on that, any Amazon links are affiliate links, so if you choose to purchase through those links, I will get a small commission. So thank you so much if you choose to support me. Rest assured, I will use those commissions and immediately go out and buy more planner shit so that I can hopefully keep bringing you guys new, fresh content. So yeah, thank you so much if you choose to purchase through those. So yeah, let's get started. Essentially, there's not too much to this, really. It's pretty simple to start doing your own print at home stuff. So the first thing you need really is a good paper. And so the first one I bought was from Office Depot, which is this exact one right here. It's a 28 pound for inkjet and for laser. Obviously you can see I've used quite a bit of this one. So this is the first one I was using, and these are great. I tried to take these out. Hopefully you can see like there's a slight color difference between these two. So I'm kind of trying to show you a little example. The Office Depot is pretty bright white. The 28 pound is nice and thick. I never have any issues with bleed through on this one, so I definitely recommend this. It was a good deal when I found it, and I will definitely use it again. And I'm still currently, this is what's in all my planners right now for anything I'm printing at home. So I definitely think that's a really good option. I did also, because I'm obviously running a little low on this one, I mean, there's still some left in there, but I found a good deal on this hammer mill one at Amazon recently, and I've heard really good things about it, so I decided to pick it up. This is a slightly thicker paper. It's a 32 pound, also for color. And so I'm excited to try this one out. I think this one is a little bit creamier of a color if you're into like comparing paper colors. I think the Office Depot is a little bit of a brighter white, where the hammer mill is more of like a creamier white. Not a major difference though, so that's pretty much the only difference as far as color and then the slight thickness of the paper. But either of these, both are pretty reasonably priced. I think you really couldn't go wrong with either one of these. So that's the paper I'm using. And so you'll print on your paper. I'm not going to go over printers today because I'm not like an expert on printers. I just have an HP that I bought from Costco like 2 years ago, and it's fine. I wouldn't say it's like the best for color if you're doing like a ton of color, so I don't even really want to like rep my printer. Plus HP really gets you by the balls with the ink setup, so I don't know. I almost like want to look into a laser printer myself, so I'm not going to go over printers. I'm assuming you guys have one or know where you can get stuff printed. So I'll kind of leave printers out of it, but there's paper. Then for acetate, so I actually just picked this one up. This is pretty new for me. This is a recommendation actually from Ginny over at My Minimal Planner. So this is called Inkjet Transparency Film, but this is the acetate that you would be able to print on. So this is kind of what it looks like. I'll pop out a piece for you. It comes in this like plastic packaging. And it's kind of nice because there is a tissue in between each sheet so that they don't get all stuck together and smudged. So it's nice and shiny. They're nice and clean. I printed on one of these with my inkjet and didn't have any problems. I did have to let it dry for a little before it wouldn't smudge. So, but yeah, definitely recommend this. It was, again, pretty reasonably priced, available on Amazon. So I got it like the next day, which is great because I love to like try something like immediately once I decide I want to do it. So that's what I'm using for acetate right now. And then for vellum, I was using, and I know I said this in a previous video, that I was like using shitty vellum. It's not shitty, it's just like it wasn't the best. So the one I was using before is this one on the top, and I only have a couple of sheets left, because you guys know how I love my vellums. So, I bought a new set, so I'll kind of show you the difference. But this first one was from, I believe this was just the like Staples pack, like the actual Staples brand. I will link it below so you can see which one it is. It's fine. It's, you know, it looks good in my planners. It prints really well. I haven't had any smudging problems. It does have a little bit of like wrinkling to the paper, I think. So it's not like the best as far as like smoothness. But it's fine. It's like, it's worked out really well. I've obviously gone through the whole pack with no problems. So I am almost through that one and decided to try something a little bit different. So I found this one on Amazon, and I would have left it in the package, you guys, but it just came in like a nondescript, like white, like clear plastic bag. So there is no packaging to it really. I'll link it below so you can see, but it is a little bit thicker than the previous one I was using, and there's none of that sort of like wrinkling in the page. So I'm really excited to try this one. They seem really smooth. They're a little bit thicker. So I think these are going to work really, really nicely. So I'm excited about that. But I will link this one below as well, so you have a couple of options to try. I think they were about the same price, the one at Staples and the one at Amazon. So really everything I have gotten is like about the same price-wise between like something at Office Depot and something at Amazon. So I'll link all of them for you. Excuse me. So then after you do your printing on one of those papers or acetates or vellums, the next thing you need is a paper cutter. And so what I have been using for the longest time, pretty much forever, is this bad boy right here. So I have a guillotine paper cutter. This one is pretty old. I think I found this at a Paper Source like warehouse sale, if you guys know what those are. They do it like once a year, or they did before COVID. And I found this for like 10 bucks, which was awesome because I was looking for something. And recently I kind of was like, I don't know, maybe I don't want a guillotine anymore. Maybe I want like one of the smaller trimmers. I'll show you guys one of those in a second. But turns out once I tried the other one, I actually really love this one. And once you get used to like the measurements of your cutter that you use, I think like it just becomes your thing. You really like know how to use, right? So I've gotten really used to this one. I like it a lot. It obviously has the like the blade arm right here that you can see. It has like a wide paper base or whatever you call it. I don't even know the technical terms for these, but like where you put the paper down, it's like really wide here. So there's really no papers I'm cutting where they're like hanging off the edge. So yeah, like this one has worked out really well for me. I cut all of my papers on it. I've been able to put like some, you know, markers on here for like things that I'm not the best at eyeballing cut wise. So like this is my like width for the HP mini because it's like such a weird sizing that like I just put a little thing there. So that's what that is. But this has worked out really well for me. I like the guillotine style, with the exception that sometimes I will say a cutter like this doesn't do, if you like are cutting an acetate or a vellum and you like undercut by like a very small amount, like an 1/8 inch or something, and you need to recut just a tiny amount on the end, this one does not do the best job doing that, because with those different textured papers, it will sometimes just kind of like fold it down at the end. So this one doesn't work great for that, but it does cut like, you know, 5 or 6 pages at a time is usually the most I'll do, so that I don't screw something up or like overlook, you know, aligning something. But it will cut like quite a few at a time, and it does really nice cuts. So I like this one. You can find these like all, you know, all kinds of brands. This is a Fiskars, but you can find like tons of brands of these at all kinds of price ranges. So that's the one I generally use. And then, like I said, I was kind of interested in trying out one of these guys. So this is like one of the smaller, almost like portable ones. And so I actually tried out the Fiskars one that I found at Target, and I did not like it. I actually took it back because I was like, I don't really like, you know, I was like not used to the measurements of it or whatever. And then also like the cutter, it was leaving like a lip at the edge of where I was cutting, and I really hated that. So you might be asking like, why the hell do you have one that you're showing me right now? Well, first of all, a lot of people do like this style, and I will say there are certain things I really, really like this for. Number one being like what I was just saying about the guillotine, where it like can't really cut a tiny edge off of like a vellum or an acetate. This one will do a perfect job at that because it has just that tiny blade inside of here. So you just like run it down the middle, and it does really, really well with those tiny cuts. Obviously this is not the Fiskars brand. Like I said, I returned that one. But I ended up getting a Cricut recently, thanks to someone who shall not be named but knows who she is. And so I ended up getting just like one of those packs of like the tools you need or whatever, and it happened to come with this in it, which was kind of an appeal because I was like, oh, you know, I think like I wanted to try one of those. This one is actually really nice. It doesn't do that lip thing on the edge when I cut, and I really like having this one as a smaller option and for those like smaller jobs. This one also works really well on a pocket for me because it's such a small thing, whereas like the guillotine is a little bit bigger, so it works really well for me in like the half letter and those bigger sizes where I'm not having to do like as precise like tiny little cuts. So yeah, I really recommend this too, actually. I think you can't go wrong with either one. I really like the Cricut brand one. I think it does a better job cutting than the Fiskars one in this style. But like I said, I also have the Fiskars guillotine and I think it works really well. So you could really not go wrong with either one of these. I will link to both of these if I can find them. I'm not sure where the Fiskars guillotine would be at because like I said, I found it at that weird outlet sale, but I'm sure they're around. I'll find like, you know, some kind of link and show you guys like exactly what type is out there now. So those are the cutters that I have. And then the last thing really that you will need is a punch. And so I've got a lot of questions about this too. So I wanted to show in video the punch that I have for my disc bound system. So I use the Levenger punch, and this is like the medium range punch. So there's like the industrial grade one that's like huge and expensive, and then I have like the little portable one that's really cheap. This is like the right in the middle one where it's like, you know, the medium price range, the medium size. This one has worked so well for me. I never recommend any other punch because this one just does such a good job. And I will say too, so there's a setting on here, it's called Junior in Levenger. So they have a junior setting, that's the half letter. And it matches up exactly. If you are a cloth and paper user, the punches are almost exact from Levenger to cloth and paper. So if you're wanting something that's gonna be like pretty similar to some already printed inserts you have or like dividers that you have, the punches are almost the same. This one also does have a setting, so you just like push this and adjust this little guy down here. It has, so like Junior is somewhere down here, and then it has a setting all the way up here that fits the mini HP exactly, which is really great to have those both in the one punch. I'm not sure whether the other punches, so there are other disc bound punches out there. I hear a lot about the Arc brand from Staples. I've heard good things about it. I can't say anything about that because I have not tried the Arc. I don't know if it's adjustable. I don't know if it has like a setting for the mini and the half letter. And like if you wanted like a full letter size, this one could do a full letter size too. So I don't know if the Arc can do that. And I also can't speak to like the punches because I haven't used it. I will say no hate to Office Depot. I love their stuff and I think Tool is a really good brand, but I would stay away from the Tool punch. If at all possible. I think it's a little bit cheaper, so like it will work. It definitely like doesn't not work if you just like need something cheap or quick. But I tried it when I first started doing disc bound systems, and I'm trying to like think of a way to explain it. Oh, here, I'll show you on here. So when you're doing a disc bound, these are called the stems and this is called the mushroom punch. And so the Levenger, like I said, matches up really closely to something like cloth and paper. Whereas like the Tool, the stems are shorter and the mushroom punches are smaller. So to me, like what that means is for when you punch your papers and put them on your discs, they have a much harder time turning the pages, and then also they fall off a lot easier because they're not, like the holes at the top are not big enough to like grip the disc as well. So I love the Levenger. This is the only one I use. I will never buy another one. This is like going to be the one I use forever. I think it's the best one out there. I'm sure there's people out there you could ask about the Arc. Like I said, I've heard good things about it too. So that is the disc bound punch that I have. And I have one other punch to show you because I just got the pocket, obviously. So I needed a punch for that. And I will kind of caveat this with, I was like really impatient about wanting to like start doing things with a pocket. So, and I had a Hobby Lobby gift card. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I found this adjustable punch and it cost $10. And I was like, cool, I'm going to try it. And if I hate pocket, like no big deal. It was $10. So, and it's an adjustable one. So it technically does, I'll try to show you on here. It will punch an A5, a personal, excuse me, an A6 and a pocket and also a mini. So there's a couple of options in here. The thing I first hated about this punch was that it punches the holes way too deep on the page. So essentially what that means is like, your when your pages are turning, there's too much on the inside of the rings and it makes the pages hard to turn. So I did a bunch of Googling one day because I was like, I don't want to buy, you know, again, I was like not sure at the time if I was gonna like really like the pocket. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a punch. So I did some Googling and I found this cool hack. So if anyone out there has a punch that you hate because it punches the holes too deep on the page, I read this cool hack that totally works. You stick some toothpicks in the side here, like into where the punches are. You have to do it on both sides, right? So, and the person I was reading this from said you only had to do one. I tried that and mine is so deep I had to do toothpicks, but it basically stops the paper from going in further at like an even range. And so now that I have two in there, it punches them perfectly. So for me, I'm like, this is a little bit janky of a setup, but also it was 10 bucks and it's like working really well for me right now. So that's what I have. It's the Agenda 52 mint colored adjustable punch that goes from mini and pocket, sorry, up to 8.5. So that is what I have. And it's a good, like, you know, cheap option to kind of get started and see if you like it. I don't know if I'll upgrade to something at some point, but this, like I said, this is working well for me right now. It was pretty reasonably priced, so I will keep that in my lineup at the moment. I think that's kind of it, you guys. I think if you have like a printer that works and you have some paper, some vellum, some acetate, a cutter, and a punch, like you're kind of set. You can print pretty much any insert. You can cut it, you can punch it, you can print dashboards. I think that's like really mostly what you need. Obviously there's like, you know, other things you could think about getting, or if we're talking about like, you know, additional, you know, things you want to have in your planner, there's lots more stuff, but this is really like the nuts and bolts of like how to start printing your own inserts and being able to customize your planner for you with printables. So I hope this was helpful. Oh, one other thing I was going to mention, I get this question quite a bit, so I'm going to throw it in at the end of this one. I get a lot of questions about what iPhone tripod I use to film my videos that I've been doing on IGTV. So I will link that in the description below too, just so you guys can see which tripod I'm using, because I've gotten that question DM'd quite a bit. So I'm just going to throw it in here so you can see it. And I think that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or feedback or comments, definitely let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.